The recent news cycle is dominated by the revelation that presidential advisor Jared Kushner may have discussed the possibility of opening back-channel communications with the Russian ambassador during the recent transition period. Opposition reporters, commentators, and former government officials have been nearly apoplectic in their criticism. They imply that back-channel communications are unethical and illegal. A review of the facts is illuminating. In the 1950s and 60s, China was not a source of iPhones and running shoes. Relations with China were as frosty then as they are now with North Korea, except that China had a much larger nuclear arsenal and the world's largest army. The Red Chinese, as they were called then, were just as bellicose as North Korea is now. Through a series of back-channel communications and a secret trip by then presidential advisor Henry Kissinger, relations with China were stabilized and then improved. Better U.S.-China relations motivated the Soviet Union to agree to the first limits on nuclear weapons and the beginning of the end of the Cold War. In October 1963, Soviet missiles in Cuba caused a crisis that very nearly developed into a nuclear war. It is not an overstatement to say that humanity stood at the brink of World War III. The situation was diffused through open, diplomatic, and clandestine back-channel communication. Some details of the settlement didn't come out for years, like the secret agreement that the United States would remove its missiles from Turkey. It is a little-known fact that the use of back-channel communications has gone on since the Continental Congress established the Committee of Secret Correspondence in 1775. Obama had back channels, as did Bush, as did Clinton, and all the rest. So why the fuss? Two reasons. First, a declining quality of journalism. Journalism programs in universities have diminished along with the rest of higher education. Reporters now have little knowledge of political science or history. The 20-somethings are running amok. There are no luminaries like Edward R. Murrow, Eric Sevareid, Scotty Reston, or Howard K. Smith to provide leadership. On a broader level, the White House press corps and even general assignment reporters do not have the knowledge, experience, or judgment necessary to produce intelligent and dispassionate reporting. The tabloidization of the press has caused declining standards and inferior quality. Secondly, there is a shift in journalism towards the British model. In Britain, reporters in the publications are partisan. Except for the Financial Times, British papers make no pretense towards unbiased journalism or objectivity. The Telegraph is essentially an extension of the Conservative Party. The Guardian is center-left and pro-labor, although some of its staff is super-left. The Daily Mail speaks for the middle-class populist right. The Morning Star used to be the Daily Worker, and everyone knows they're far, far left. The difference is that in Britain, newspapers are honest and forthright about their allegiance. In the United States, not so much. In traditional American journalism, professionalism is equated with objectivity. Today, that notion exists only in theory. Incredibly, some people who could best be described as advocates are described as journalists. Author and veteran journalist. Television journalist. Broadcast journalist? Really? I like Stephanie. At least she's from Jersey. And it helps to calibrate my fallacious argument meter. If they're journalists, my name is Biff Pocoroba. My point is, journalism isn't what it used to be. Go watch All the President's Men. What do you think Ben Bradley would say today? There's nothing wrong with being an advocate, if you're upfront about it. I've drifted off course. Anyway, back-channel communications. Whether it is a judge issuing a gag order in a sensitive murder case, or a delicate labor contract negotiation, or the resolution of the Cuban Missile Crisis, sometimes a successful conclusion can only be reached by all parties being able to have open discussions without the glare of criticism and public pressure at every point. In short, back-channel communications is not illegal or unethical. Suggestions otherwise are fundamentally dishonest. And as a sidebar, you might want to read the Espionage Act before you start hurling that accusation around. Let's just deal with the facts and skip the hysterical hyperbole. That's what I think. You can leave your comments below.